He's heating up.
If I was to put out a poll for NBA fans to answer who they feel is Shaquille O'Neal's greatest nemesis today, that list would most likely start with Charles Barkley, and rightfully so. Inside the NBA, NBA on TNT, the camaraderie that they shared, the fight or lack thereof all those years ago, the chemistry between the two is second to none. Then you would have Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard because Kenny Smith passed on the Superman nickname to Dwight Howard after the dunk contest, much to the chagrin of Shaquille O'Neal. And all these years later, they still trade jabs time and time and time again. It's a never-ending story. And then next on that list, I would probably have JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee appearing on every single edition of Shaqtin' a Fool that you can remember or think of. And he actually said that that potentially could have kept him from getting contracts and new deals in the NBA. In hindsight being 2020, that was actually the case. But there is only one player in the NBA that could actually have Shaquille O'Neal act like this.
A part of you that says, yes, Steve Nash deserved the award for the following reasons.
Maybe once, but not twice over the diesel. Twice, 2 times in a row. He got 2, I got 1, Kobe got 1. Something wrong with that picture.
Now, 2005, Shaq, I'm with you, okay? In Miami, they go to the playoffs the previous season. Then they go to the second round. They face the Indiana Pacers. They lose to them in 7 games. But you going there made them a championship contender. You put them in the championship picture. Now, Steve Nash going to Phoenix. You have Mike D'Antoni, made him a better coach. 7 seconds or less offense, made that offense better. Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Quentin Richardson, Joe Johnson made all of those players better. In turn, made the team better and turned them into a 62-20 team. 2005 MVP, I have no problem. Give it to Steve Nash. But 2006, you are going to need a O.J. Simpson, Johnny Cochran level defense to explain to me how Steve Nash got away with robbing the 2006 NBA MVP when I'm sitting here looking at the rankings, the statistics, all of the team success that other players had. You're going to have to find a way to explain that to me. So let's go down the list of these MVP rankings, okay? Steve Nash, 57 first place votes. 18 points, 4.2 rebounds, 10.5 assists, 51, 44, and 92 splits. He wins the MVP off of that. Now, my only argument against Steve Nash in this particular instance, okay, yes, they had a 58-24 year. Pretty good. Still a lower level of success that they experienced the previous season. But if we're giving MVPs out for 18 points, 10 assists, shooting around 50%, Tim Duncan averaged 18.6 points, 11 rebounds, 48% from the field, and 40 from 3. And the San Antonio Spurs went 63-19. So I'm a little confused. Are we rewarding winning? Are we rewarding, the fact that he averaged a double-double? Like, I don't know what scenario that they're looking for or what narrative they're going along with to make Steve Nash a back-to-back MVP. All right. But he finished first in the voting. You got LeBron. He came in second with 16 first-place votes. You got Dirk coming in at third, 14 first-place votes. You got Kobe coming in at fourth, 22 first-place votes. And rounding out the top 5, you have Chauncey Billups, 15 first-place votes. Then Dwayne Wade, Elton Brand, and Tim Duncan round out the whole MVP rankings. Now, when you're talking about the MVP, all right, in recent years, it's been basically a narrative thing, okay? It's been about whose turn is it? MVP for Russell Westbrook, averaged a triple-double for the entire season. Phenomenal record. Give it to him. But the following seasons, all right, James Harden hasn't had a turn yet. Give it to him. Now we have Nikola Jokic, back-to-back MVPs. You have, Giannis Antetokounmpo, back-to-back MVPs. On top of the fact that he was Defensive Player of the Year, you couldn't not give it to him. But you're sitting there looking at Joel Embiid averaging 30 points year after year after year. All right, it's his turn. Give it to him. One thing I hate about the MVP conversation, everybody says, is take this player off of this team. What does it look like? Well, considering the fact that this is an MVP conversation, if you take all of those caliber players off of their teams, they are no longer in the championship conversation. Do you say the same thing when you're looking at this list, looking at 2005, looking at 2006? Now, in my opinion, okay, this is my take on the MVP. I look at winning and I look at statistics. Sometimes that means the best player on the best team, and they're probably going to have the stats to back that up. So when I'm looking at the MVP rankings right now, I'm looking at teams, okay? Chauncey Billups is going to get consideration simply for the fact that the Detroit Pistons went 64-18. Tim Duncan is going to get consideration because the San Antonio Spurs went 63-19. No, neither of those guys have the stats as some of the other players on this list, but they have winning and they are the best records in the entire league. They're going to get consideration automatically. So I like that. What I don't like is the ranking. So here are my MVP rankings. Number 3, I'm going to put LeBron James. Okay. His team went 50-32. Like I said, 16 first place votes. He went 31.4 points a game, 7 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 48% from field, 34 from 3, and 74 from the free throw line. 16 first place votes. I'm okay with that for the 3rd spot. Now, number 2, okay. Here's why I say Kobe should be 2nd in the voting. When you look at his roster, he has Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, Chris Mim, Devin George, Luke Walton, Brian Cook, Sasha Vujacic, Aaron McKee. I mean, these are the players that were playing a good chunk of the minutes for the Lakers that season. And they ended up with a 45-37 record because Kobe was averaging 35 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 45, 35, and 85 splits. He was first team All-NBA and first team All-Defense. Kobe Bryant should have been at least 2nd in the MVP voting. He dropped all the way down to 4th, but still received the 2nd most first place votes. Make it make sense. Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks go 60-22. He averages 26.6 points, 9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 48, 40, and 90 splits. I'm going to reward that with an MVP because, again, one of the best records in the league. He has the statistics. He has the efficiency, on top of the fact when you look at the MVP voting, okay, look at the entirety of this list. Dirk Nowitzki actually has the most win shares out of everybody on this list. He's at 17.7. That's higher than Steve Nash by 5.3 win shares. Again, make it make sense. Let me know in the comments who you feel should have been the real MVP in the 2005-2006 NBA season. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. That's one more for the good guys.